morning, good afternoon or good evening to you Vinyasa yogis. So this week is all going to be about fluidity, and it's based around the second chakra, which is the Svadhisthana chakra, and that is the colour orange, and it's got the element of water, hence why we're doing a fluidity practice. We're also going to be including breath to movement today, so there'll be no long holds. I will take you through the flow first, slightly slower, and then take you through the flow, breath to movement. And there's a few different flows today. So there's going to be lots of different variety of poses. So I'd like you to think about trying to just use the nose for breathing if you can, with a slight restriction at the back of the throat. This is called the Ujjayi breath. It sounds slightly audible to you. So it helps you breathe as you move. And if you think about everything where you extend the body as an inhale and everywhere where you flex the body is an exhale, you'll pretty much get the flow of the breath to movement by thinking in that way. Sometimes it does go against the grain, so don't worry too much if that happens. If your breath isn't in sync with your movements, don't worry either. Just don't hold your breath, continue to breathe, whether that's in and out in the wrong places or not. Doesn't really concern me too much. The main concern would be if you was holding your breath. So this flow is quite creative, and that's another part of the second chakra. So let's enjoy it and just really switch off from the outside world, switch to the inner sensations of the body, and let's find that fluidity. So starting in child's pose first of all. Oh, just also make sure you've got some water. So if you haven't got some water, pause me and come back to me. So bringing the big toes together, bringing the sit bones slowly back towards the heels, as close as you can bring them. Not everybody can bring them totally down. Then just have a little movement through the hips first, just before you start to walk the hands forward. And then as you soften those hips down just a little bit, start to bring the hands forward towards the front of the mat. Slowly bringing that chest down towards the floor, forehead towards the floor if it reaches. If not, just hover away from the ground, but just keep that slight movement through the body, that little rock of the hips. It starts to snake the spine slightly, and it starts to move you through the shoulders a little bit. So remember, this isn't necessarily a holding flow. We will be moving throughout. So Svadhisthana, second chakra, and it's the colour orange. Fluidity is what it's all about, and creativity. And it's all about the element of water. So just taking a few breaths here, maybe at the moment in and out through the nose and maybe the mouth, just for a couple of breaths. Long, deep breaths in, long breaths out. So I encourage you to try and take that longer breath throughout this flow. The longer breaths gives you longer to get to the space where you need to be to before you need to move again. So if you're taking short, sharp breaths, it makes it quite erratic. The longer and deeper you can breathe into that belly, the more calmed that nervous system will feel. So just taking a few more moments rocking in this child's pose. Just maybe start to bring a movement into the neck, swaying the head a little bit from side to side. Then start to walk the hands over to your right side of the mat. Place your left hand on top of the right, sink into that right thigh. Breathe in deeply and breathe out completely. Try to start using the nose now. Next breath in, walk the hands over to your left side. Right hand on top of the left, chest sinks to the inside of the left thigh. Take a long breath in and a long breath out. Next breath in, walk the hands back to the centre. On your out breath, let the body fold in between both thighs. Next breath in, come up onto your hands and knees under the hips. Walk the hands a little further forward. Come forward with the hips and let them come to a hover. On your next breath in, send the hips over to the left, back towards the heels, and on your out breath over to the right and back to the heel of the hands. And again, breathe in, move the hips over to the left, back towards the heels. On your out breath over to the right and back to the heel of the hands. Just hover in that space. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. Next breath in, over to your right side. Back towards the heels. Over to your left side. On your out breath, back towards the heel of the hands. And again, in breath, over to the right. Back towards the heels. On your out breath, over to the left. And back to the heel of the hands. Hover in this space. Take a breath in. Take a breath out. In breath, tuck the toes under. Lift the hips. Find your way to your first down dog. Paddling the feet as you breathe in and out through the nose. That slight restriction through the back of the throat. Give the head a nod. Give the head a shake. Then slowly start to walk the feet 1 footprint at a time towards the front of the mat. Bending the knees as much as you need to. Remember, it's the start of practice. Those lower backs may feel a little tight, and so may the hamstrings. And as you get to the front of the mat, take a hold of the elbows, let go of the head, and just rock the body from side to side. Maybe making figure 8 with the elbows. And then just let the arms hang heavy. And slowly curl up through those spines. 1 vertebra at a time. Slight bend in the knees till you arrive in standing. And when you arrive in standing, roll the shoulders back, turn the palms forward, close the eyes. Notice that slight movement of the body as you're standing in mountain pose. Feeling all 4 points of the feet. A little softness through the knees, a little lift of the lower belly and a tuck of the tailbone, the tether of the ribs and hips. The squeeze of the shoulder blades back, and then shoulder blades push down into those back pockets, growing tall through the spine, up through the crown of the head, and grounding through the feet, lengthening, elongating. We're going to do 4 rounds of sun salutation A. I will start with step backs on the first two sides and then take you through jump backs if you wish, but you can continue with the step back if you don't want to jump back. On your breath in, raise the hands up to the ceiling, palms come together. On your breath out, bring the hands past the chest, bending through the knees, bringing the hands to the floor. Long breath out. Breath in, bring the hands to the shins, straighten the legs, straighten the back. Breath out, plant the hands, step your right foot back, step your left foot back. On your next breath out, start to lower, dropping the knees if you wish, or straight bodies all the way to the floor. Push into the hands on the in-breath and lift up the chest, baby cobra. Release the chest back down, tuck under with the toes, bring the chest back to the thighs. This is all on an out breath back to down dog. And when you get to down dog, take a couple of breaths here. Maybe you still wish to paddle those feet. Maybe you wish to bring those feet to stillness and encourage those heels back. Take whatever movement needs to happen to you. Hands shoulder width apart, feet hip width apart. Your next breath in, raise the right leg up to the ceiling. On your out breath, bring that knee to the chest and step your right foot through, step your left foot through. Take a breath out. Next breath in, raise the hands up to the ceiling, palms come together at the top. On your out breath, bring the hands to the chest, then down by the sides of the body. Next breath in, raise the hands to the ceiling, palms come together. On your out breath, fold from the hips, bring the hands to the floor. Breath in, half lift. Breath out, plant the hands, step your left foot back, step your right foot back, and on your out breath, slowly lower to the floor, maybe dropping the knees if you wish, or straight bodies. Untuck the toes, push into the hands and lift up the chest, maybe come a little higher this time. Hold breath out as you bring the chest down, tuck under the toes, chest back to the thighs, finding your way back to down dog with a long breath out. When you arrive in down dog, find what's suitable for you, either a paddle of the feet or a stillness here. Try and create some space along the collarbones. Shoulder blades pushing down towards the hips, gazing back towards the toes. Widen the fingers, encourage the heels back either one at a time or both together. Your next breath in, your left leg lifts. On your out breath, bring the knee to the chest, step your left foot through, your right foot through. On your out breath, fold from those hips. Next breath in, raise the hands up to the ceiling, palms come together at the top. And then bring the hands to the chest and the hands down by the sides of the body. So your choice on the next two sun salutation A's is to either jump back or step back to plank. If you jump back, it's straight to chaturanga, elbows by the sides of the ribs. Take a breath in, raise the hands up to the ceiling, palms come together at the top. On your out breath, fold from the hips, bring the hands to the floor. Breath in, come up to a half lift, either fingertips or hands to the shins. Breath out, plant the hands, either step back or jump back, chaturanga. Rolling through on your in-breath to lift up the chest, thighs stay away. On your out-breath, either bring the chest back to thighs or roll straight over those toes, lifting the hips and squeezing those heels back, holding it in down dog for a breath. So your next choice is to either jump forward or bring your right foot through, then your left foot through. On your inhale, bend the knees, step or jump to the front of the mat. Then allow the body to fold over the legs. Next breath in, raise the hands up to the ceiling, palms come together at the top. On your out breath, bring the hands to the chest. Then release the hands down by the sides of the body. Same again, if you step back with the right foot, this time step back with the left. Breath in, raise the hands up to the ceiling. On your out breath, fold from the hips, bring the hands to the floor. Breath in, come up to a half lift. Breath out, plant the hands, step or jump back, plank or chaturanga, keep that core center strong. On your in breath, lift up the chest, squeeze the shoulder blades back. On your out breath, roll over the toes, lift up the hips, squeeze the heels back. Or paddle those feet if those hamstrings and lower backs are still tight. Or take a micro bend in the knees if you don't want to paddle. Easy breaths in, long breaths out, still connecting with that Ujjayi breath. So the next movement will be either the lift of the left leg or a jump forward. On your in breath, bend the knees, step or jump to the front of the mat. Allow the body to fold over the legs. Next breath in, reach up with the hands, palms come together at the top. On your out breath, bring the hands to the chest. Samastitihi. Release the hands down by the sides of the body. We're going to take 2 rounds of sun salutation B now. These do flow fairly quickly. Choice to step back or jump back to your planks or jump back to chaturanga. On your in-breath, bend the knees, sweep the arms up above, finding chair. On your out-breath, fold from the hips, straighten the legs, bring the hands to the floor. In-breath, come up to a half lift. Out-breath, plant the hands, either step back or jump back, chaturanga. Roll through, up, lift up the chest. Then make your way back to down dog, either chest to thighs or rolling straight over those toes, lifting the hips, squeezing the heels back. So step your right foot in between the hands, drop your left heel down. On your in-breath, raise the hands up to the ceiling. Warrior one. On your out-breath, release the hands to the floor, step your right foot back. Release to the floor, either dropping the knees or straight bodies or chaturanga. Roll through, up, lift up the chest. And then make your way back to down dog, either chest to thighs or rolling straight over those toes. Lifting the hips, squeezing the heels back. Step your left foot through, keep the hips high as you do so. Drop the right heel. In-breath raises the arms up to the ceiling. And the out-breath releases the hands back down either side of the left foot. Step back to plank. Take a vinyasa, either straight body low to the floor or chaturanga or dropping the knees. Lift up through the chest, take it to an up dog or a baby cobra. And then make your way back to down dog. Pushing into those hands and feet, lifting the hips, squeezing the heels back. Hold it in down dog for a few breaths. Try and get that posterior chain stretch of the body, keeping that core center nice and strong. So your next breath in, choice to step forward with one foot or jump to the front of the mat and allow the body to fold over the thighs. On your in-breath, bend the knees, scoop the arms up, find chair. On your out-breath, bring the hands to the chest. Release the hands down by the sides of the body. We'll take another round of Sun Salutation B. I'll be doing jump backs and I'll be doing the full Chaturanga movement as we move through our vinyasas. Breath in, bend the knees, raise the arms, find your chair. On your out breath, fold from the hips, straighten the legs, bring the hands to the floor. In breath, come up to a half lift, hands to shins or fingertips. Out breath, plant the hands, either step or jump back plank or chaturanga, straight in the body. And then take your up dog or your baby cobra and then release yourself back to down dog with a long exhale, either chest to thighs or rolling straight over those toes, lifting the hips. Step your right foot through, drop the left heel. On your in-breath, raise the hands to the ceiling, warrior one. On your out-breath, release the hands back to the floor, step back to plank. Release either all the way to the floor or chaturanga, hovering halfway. Roll over the toes, lift up the chest, baby cobra or up dog. Then either chest back to thighs or rolling straight over those toes, lifting those hips, squeezing those heels back. Step your left foot through, in between the hands, drop your right heel internally, raise the arms, warrior one. Release the hands down, either side of that left foot, step back to plank. Finish your vinyasa, your choice, chaturanga, elbows grazing the ribs. Rolling over the toes and lifting the chest. All thighs are down or lifted. Make your way back to down dog on your out breath. And when you get to down dog, take a little breath here. Easy breaths in. Long breaths out. Then choice to either step forward with a foot or jump. On your out breath, fold from the hips. In breath, bend the knees, raise the arms, find chair. Out breath, bring the hands to the chest. Samasthiti. Release the hands down by the side of the body. Take a close of the eyes. Try and find as much stillness as you can in mountain pose. Palms facing forward, shoulders drawn down. Everything in a good anatomical position. Softness through the knees, lift of the lower belly, slight tuck of the tailbone. A tether of those ribs and hips. An expansion of the chest and a squeeze of the shoulder blades together and down towards the hips. Growing tall through the crown, grounding through the feet. Long elongation from the toes to the crown of the head. Opening the eyes, maybe take a little chance of some water before we go into the next little sequence. Starting at the front of your mat. On your breath in, raise the hands up to the ceiling. On your breath out, fold from the hips, maybe bend the knees to bring the hands to the floor. On your in-breath, come up to a half lift. Then plant the hands, step back to plank. And as you arrive in plank, lift up the hips and squeeze the heels back. Take your gaze back towards the toes, the knees or the hips. Breath in comes forward to plank. Breath out, lift the hips, squeeze the heels back. Breath in, forward to plank. Breath out, squeeze the heels back, lift the hips. Two more, breath in, forward to plank, roll through the spine, lift the head when you get to plank. Breath out, lift up the hips and squeeze the heels back. One more of those. Forward to plank, roll through that spine. Out breath, send those hips back. Weight comes into your left foot as you raise the right leg on your inhale. On your exhale, turn the hips to the right, push the right foot to the left. Inhale, realign, straighten the leg. And on your exhale, bring the right foot to the outside of the right hand. So rock the hips in circles here. Getting a little movement through those hip sockets. Taking it in one direction first. And then take those circles of the hips in in the opposite direction. Rolling over on the toes of the left foot. Getting some mobility through the bases of the feet. And then bring yourself to a still position. Roll onto the outside edge of your left foot, outside edge of your right foot, and reach the right hand back. In breath, come back to lizard. Out breath, straighten both legs. In breath, back to lizard. Out breath, roll onto the outside edges and send the right hand back. In breath, back to lizard. Out breath, straighten both legs. In breath, back to lizard. Out breath, roll over onto the edges, send your right hand back. Drop the left hip. In breath, back to lizard. Out breath, straighten both legs. Come back to lizard and step your right foot back to meet the left. Lift up the hips and squeeze those heels back. Have a nod, have a shake of the head and paddle through the feet. Bring those heels to a still position. Your next breath in, your left leg lifts, and on your out breath, bend the knee, turn the hips, push the left foot to the right. In breath, realign and straighten the left leg. Out breath, bring that left foot to the outside of the left hand. Make circles with the hips. Really feeling that in the hip and socket. Moving them as wide a circle as you can take, and then take that movement the opposite way. And then come back to a still position. In breath, lift the left hand up and over, come onto the outside edge of both feet. Out breath, come back to lizard. In breath, straighten both legs. Out breath, come back to lizard. In breath, drop onto the outside edges of both feet, drop the right hip down, left hand to the back. In breath, back to lizard. Out breath, straighten both legs. In breath, back to lizard. Reach up and over with the left hand, outside edges of both feet, drop the right hip. In breath, back to lizard. Out breath, straighten both legs. We'll take that one more time, bend into that left knee, drop the outside edges, left hand to the back of the mat. In breath, come back to center. Out breath, straighten both legs. Come back to center. Step that left foot back to plank. And lift the hips. Squeeze the heels back. Take a paddle of the feet. And a nod and a shake of the head. And then take a breath in, come forward to plank. On your out breath, back to down dog. 3 more of those. Forward to plank, in breath, roll through that spine. Out breath, back to down dog. 2 more. In breath, forward to a plank. Out breath, back to down dog. 1 more. Forward to plank, in breath. Out breath, back to down dog. Take a paddle through the feet. Movement through the hips. Bring the heels to stillness. So your choice to lift the leg, you can either do your own vinyasa or come in with me with a leg lifted. So either keep both feet planted or on your in-breath, raise the right leg. Out breath, forward to plank and release to a hover. Drop the right foot, push into the hands, lift the chest. Remember, it can be your own vinyasa. Out breath, come back to down dog. In breath, lift the left leg. Out breath, forward to plank and down to a hover. Drop the left foot, come into an up dog. Out breath, back to down dog. Take a paddle of the feet, a little movement through the hips. Come down onto the knees. Either taking child's pose or maybe taking some water. Getting ready for our next flow. So I'm going to take you through it slowly on both right and left sides, and then take it breath to movement. The poses are warrior two, twisted warrior, rotated lunge and crescent lunge. And when we take that into breath to movement, it feels really fluid and a real beautiful movement through those four poses. So when you're ready, meeting me back in down dog, maybe coming through tabletop first, stepping both feet back to plank second, and lifting the hips to down dog third. Weight comes into your left foot, raise your right leg. In breath, out breath, turn the hips. In breath, realign, straighten the right leg. Out breath, knee to chest, and bring your right foot through. So slowing it down a little bit, drop the left heel and windmill the left arm up and over to find our warrior two. And then that out breath, we would sink the hips. Turn the palms to face the left. And slowly turn around all the way to the right, coming onto the toes of the left foot to find our twisted warrior. We wouldn't be holding here, we'd be transitioning straight to our rotated lunge. So we'll take that now, the left hand comes down to the floor as your right hand lifts. So finding the bend in the right knee and the straightening of the left leg. Then the right arm will scoop down and around and then lift up to our crescent lunge. And then we wouldn't be holding here, our out breath would bring our hands back to the floor, and then we would take a little movement. So we're going to bring the hands down, drop the left knee onto the left toes, reach up with the right leg, bend the elbows, bring the chest to the floor. Then tuck the toes under, lift up with the chest, lift up with the left knee, and bring your right knee into the chest. Raise the right leg back up to the ceiling and bring it back to meet the left. We'd have a paddle of the feet here. And then we're going to take that same thing with a little bit slower on that left side. So we'd be taking the breath in and lifting the left leg. Remember, you should be doing this with me nice and slow. On the out breath, bend the knee, turn the hips to the left. In breath, straighten back up with that left leg. Out breath, bring the knee to the chest and step your left foot through. We drop the right heel and we'll windmill the right arm up and over to find warrior two. And then the out breath, we'd sink into the hips and turn the palms. So we've got that transition to warrior two. Our next transition will be around to twisted warrior in a nice long breath in, coming onto the toes of the back foot. So finding that twisted warrior, shoulders over the hips, left knee bent, right leg straight. And then from this position, we'll find our rotated lunge. Left hand up, right hand down. We wouldn't be holding, we'll be scooping the left arm down, around and raise up to our crescent lunge on our in-breath. Then on our out breath, we would be releasing the hands down, dropping the back knee, uncurling the back toes, send your left foot up to the ceiling, Bend into the elbows, then push into the hands, tuck the toes, lift the right knee. Bring the left knee to the chest. Then lifting up with the left leg and bringing it back to meet the right. Take a paddle of the feet. A nod and shake of the head. So choice of your own vinyasa, or if you're coming with me, one leg vinyasa, lift up with the right leg. And on your out breath, come forward and lower chaturanga arms. Release the right foot down and tuck both toes, lift up the chest. Make your way back to down dog, either chest to thighs, or lifting up with the hips and squeezing the heels back. So either same on the left or your own vinyasa choice. Left leg lifts on the inhale. On your exhale, we come forward and lower. Left leg comes to the floor, right toes untuck. Lift up the chest. Make your way back to down dog. Lifting the hips, squeezing the heels back. So we're going to do that flow we've just done. Breath to movement. If you lose that breath to movement, just continue to breathe and just find the flow as best you can. Weight in the left foot. Breath in, right leg lifts. Breath out, bend the knee, turn the hips. Breath in, straighten the legs, realign the hips. Breath out, right knee to the chest and bring your right foot through. Drop your left heel. Breath in, left hand scoops up and over. Breath out, bend into the hips, turn the palms to the left. Breath in, slowly transition around to our twisted warrior. Breath out, find our rotated high lunge. Breath in, bring the right arm back, down, around. And on your inhale, raise the hands, crescent lunge. Exhale, release the hands to the floor, drop the left knee and tuck the left toes. Inhale, right leg lifts. Exhale, elbows bend, chaturanga arms. Tuck the toes of the left foot under, push into the hands on the inhale. And on your exhale, knee to chest. Inhale, raise that right leg again. And bring it back to meet the left. So if you manage to do that breath to movement, awesome. If you lost the breath and you still continue to flow, awesome also. If you lost your transitions and you lost where you was going, maybe this left side will correct all of that and you'll find the flow nice and easy. Sometimes I suggest to do this practice twice. Another one through the week, so you've got used to where we're going. So left side. Breath in, left leg lifts. Breath out, bend the knee, turn the hips. Breath in, straighten the legs, realign the hip. Breath out, bring knee to chest and step your left foot through, drop your right heel down. Breath in, right arm up and over to find warrior two. Breath out, sink the hips, turn the palms to the right. Breath in, slowly transition around, toes of the back foot and find twisted warrior. Breath out, right hand comes down, left hand lifts. Breath in, left hand scoops down and around and we raise the arms through that inhale. Breath out, release the hands, drop the right knee and tuck the right toes, left leg lifts to the ceiling. Breath out, we take it to chaturanga arms. Breath in, tuck the toes under, lift the knee. Bring the knee to the chest, breath out. Breath in, raise that right leg. And left leg, and bring that left foot back to meet the right. Take a paddle of the feet. A nod and shake of the head. We'll take two vinyasas, either your own style of vinyasa or if you're coming with me, right and left leg. Right leg lifts on the inhale. Come forward to plank, exhale, release to that hover. Bring the right foot down and tuck the left toes, lift up the chest. Make your way back to down dog, lifting the hips, squeezing the heels back. Same on the left side, left leg lifts. On your out breath, come to plank and release to a hover. Bring your left foot down and tuck your right toes, lift up the chest. Make your way back to down dog. Lifting the hips, squeezing the heels back. Hold it in down dog just for a couple of breaths. Then release the knees to the floor. Maybe finding child's pose to restore the breath, or taking some water if you wish. So we have one more flow, which is going to be crescent lunge to aeroplane balance. And then that'll be going to standing staff, half splits and jiva squats. So I'm going to take it slowly first on your right side and your left side, and then we'll do it breath to movement. So when you're ready, finding your way back to down dog, hands come to tabletop first, step both feet back to plank second, lift up the hips third for down dog. Have a little nod and shake of those heads. Weight comes into your left foot, your in-breath raises the right leg, bend the knee on your out-breath and turn the hips to the right. In-breath, straighten that right leg back up, realign the hips. Out-breath, bring that right knee into the chest and step it through. On your in-breath, raise the hands up to our crescent lunge. Then on your out-breath, step forward onto your right foot and find aeroplane lunge. So just holding it here, toes are pointed, fingers pointing back. And then the transition through to standing staff is lifting the shoulders, scooping that left leg through straight, or bend if you wish, and reach the arms up to the ceiling and the left heel forward to the front of the mat. And then transition to half split, so bringing the hands to the floor, lifting the left leg high, and then we're going to take 4 jiva squats. So bring your left foot to behind the right heel and bend into the left knee and right knee, and then lift that left leg back up. 3 more of those, bend into your right knee, bring your left foot behind. Inhale and lift. Exhale is when we take the squat, obviously flexion. Inhale is when we straighten back up. 1 more, take the squat. Inhale and lift back up. Send your left toes to the back, drop the left knee onto the left toes, right leg lifts. Come down to chaturanga arms, then push into the hands, tuck the back toes under, lift the back knee, and right knee comes into the chest. Raise that right leg back up to the ceiling again, then bring that right foot to meet the left. We'll take that slowly on the other side. Weight comes into your right foot, left leg lifts. Inhale, bend the knee, exhale. Straighten the leg, inhale. Knee to chest, exhale, and step it through. Okay, so find your crescent lunge, stabilizing the feet first. Then from this position, send the arms back first, chest forward. Step forward onto your left foot and point those right toes. So we've got aeroplane standing balance. Then lift up through the torso, trying to keep the right leg straight if you can, and raise the hands up to the ceiling to find standing staff. Then we're going to find half splits. Pendulum that right leg down and then up to the ceiling. Bring the hands to the floor. 4 jiva squats on this side. So bring your right knee behind the left, bend both knees and squat. Inhale, lifts. 3 more, squat. Inhale, lift. 2 more, squat. Inhale, lift. 1 more squat. Step your right foot back, drop your right knee, uncurl the toes, scoot the left foot back and up, bend into the elbows, chest towards the floor. Tuck the toes under of the back foot, push into the arms, chin comes to the chest. In breath, lift the left leg, bring it back to meet the right. So we're going to try that breath to movement. Remember, if your breath gets lost, just try and keep the transitions. If everything gets lost, just try and catch up at some point, even if you have to miss a pose out. Nod and shake the head, relax the shoulders, breathe deeply. Remember, the longer that breath you can take, the more time you have for your transitions. Breath in, right leg lifts. Breath out, bend the knee, turn the hips. Breath in, straighten the leg, realign the hips. Breath out, knee to chest, step your right foot through. Breath in, raise the arms, crescent lunge. Breath out, aeroplane standing balance. Lifting the back leg, pointing the back toes. Breath in, pendulum that left leg through. Find standing stuff. Breath out, find standing splits. Pendulum that left leg back. Bring the hands to the floor, lift the left leg. Breath out, Jiva squat for 4. Breath in and lift. Breath out, Jiva squat, bend both knees. Breath in, straighten both legs. 2 more, breath out, bend. Breath in, lift. 1 more, breath out, bend. Breath in and lift. Breath out, drop the left knee and tuck the left toes. Breath in, raise the right leg. Breath out, bend into the elbows, chest to the floor, tuck the back toes under. Breath in, lift the knee and bring the right knee to the chest. Breath in, raise the right leg. Breath out, right foot meets the left. Take a paddle of the feet. Nod and shake of the head. We have 1 side to go, left side, breath movement. Weight comes into your right foot, breath in, left leg lifts. Breath out, bend the knee, push the left foot to the right. Breath in, straighten the left leg. Breath out, bring the knee to the chest and step your left foot through. Breath in, raise the arms, crescent lunge. Breath out, work your way onto your left foot, standing aeroplane balance, point the right toes. Breath in, straighten up through the torso, pendulum the right leg through, lift it up as close to hip height. Breath out, standing splits, right leg lifts, hands come to the floor, left leg straight. Breath out, bend into both knees, Jiva squats for 4. Breath in and lift. Breath out, Jiva. Breath in and straighten both legs. 2 more. Breath in and straighten. Breath out and squat. Breath in and straighten. Breath out, drop the right foot, drop the right knee. Onto the toes, breath in, left leg lifts. Breath out, elbows bend. Breath in, tuck the back toes under. Breath out, knee of the left comes to the chest. Breath in, left leg lifts. Breath out, left foot to meet the right. Take a paddle of the feet, nod and shake of the head. Bring the heels to stillness. We'll take 2 more vinyasas of your choice. If you're coming with me, breath in, right leg lifts. Breath out, come forward to plank and release to that hover. Right toes drop, breath in, lift up the chest. Breath out, roll over the toes, lift the hips, squeeze the heels back. Breath in, left leg lifts. Breath out, come to a plank and then down to chaturanga arms. Left toes drop, right toes untuck, lift the chest. Breath out, roll over the toes, lift the hips, squeeze the heels back. Have a nod, have a shake of the head. Then coming down onto your knees. Swing the legs around to the front of the mat. And take a little paddle of those legs. Roll the shoulders, then relax them down. Bring the hands down by the sides, toes back to the shins. Tall through the spine. Hold it in Dandasana. Seated staff pose. L-shaped pose. Then engage the upper thighs and lift the heels away, still keeping those feet active by drawing the toes back. And just find that activity as we sit in this still position. And then release the heels to the floor. Take a bend into your right knee and let the right knee drop out to the side. Okay, so bending your left knee out to the side. Right toes back towards the shins. Breath in, raise the hands up to the ceiling. Breath out, fold over that right leg. Breath in, raise those hands back up to the ceiling. Breath out, left hand behind, push into the heel and lift the hips in breath. Out breath, drop the bum back to the floor. In breath, left hand lifts. Out breath, fold over that right leg. In breath, lift the hands. Out breath, left hand drops. In breath, hips lift, push into the heel, wild thing. Out breath, hips drop. In breath, left hand lifts. Out breath, fold over that leg. In breath, lift the hands. Out breath, left hand drops. In breath, lift the hips, reach back with the right hand. Out breath, hips drop. In breath, lift both hands. Out breath, release them down by the sides of the body and straighten out that left leg. Have a paddle of those legs. Find Dandasana, seated staff. Engage the thighs, lift the heels. Relax the shoulders. Grow tall through the crown of the head. Active seated pose. Then release those heels. Take a bend this time into your right knee and let the right knee drop out to the side. Sole of the right foot into the left thigh. Breath in, raise the hands. Breath out, fold over that left leg. Breath in, raise the hands. Breath out, right hand drops. Breath in, lift the hip. Breath out, release the bum back to the floor. Breath in, right hand lifts. Breath out, fold over that left leg. Breath in, raise the hands. Breath out, right hand drops. Breath in, lift the left hip, bum away from the floor, left hand to the back. Breath out, drop the bum. Breath in, right hand lifts. Breath out, fold over that left thigh. One more, breath in, hands lift. Breath out, right hand drops. Breath in, lift both hips. Breath out, hips back to the floor. Breath in, both hands lift. Breath out, release them down to the mat. Straighten out your right leg. Take a paddle of the legs. Make sure your bum's in the centre, heels are at the front. Arms out to shoulder height. Slowly and mindfully make your way down to the point where you wish to collapse. Hold it there. In breath, raise back up. 3 more. Out breath, come down to that point of wishing to collapse and hold. In breath, raise back up. 2 more. Out breath. Keep those long limbs as something to support you. Holding that challenging position. In breath, raise back up. Last time, out breath, come to that hold position. In breath, raise back up. This time making your way all the way down, slowly, 1 vertebra at a time, using the core strength to control the movement. And then when you arrive down, laying on the mat, bring the arms to a T shape, palms facing down. Take a bend into both knees. Windscreen wipe the knees from one side to the other. Knees drop to the left, gaze to the right, back to the centre. Knees to the right, gaze to the left. Just neutralising that spine, back to centre. From all those back bends and forward folds, back to the left, gaze to the right, back to centre, over to the right and gaze to the left. Come back to centre. Bring one knee at a time into the chest. Give those knees a hug. Maybe have a little rock of the body from side to side. And then we're going to bring ourselves slowly to that relaxation position, Shavasana. Bring the feet either so they're at the edges of the mat and the knees are dropping in bent if that's more comfortable for the lower back. Or if you want to take full Shavasana, bring the feet to the edges of the mat, legs nice and long. Let the feet drop out to the sides, bring the back of the hands onto the mat and let those fingers gently curl. Maybe have a rock of the hips, maybe a lift of the tailbone to take that arch out of the lower back, send the shoulders down and then push those shoulder blades into the mat to create some space across the chest. Then relax the jaw, the forehead, close the eyes, let the tongue drop away from the roof of the mouth. Just create that space for breath. We've been working breath to movement and quite often this can heat up the body. And now we're going to take time to cool the body down. Try and make the tongue go into a little circle. So it's like creasing and folding in half in the mouth. And then just make a little hole with the lips. And with that tongue in a slight crease, breathe in and out through the mouth, sucking air in between that little hole that the tongue's made, and breathing out through that space as well. It's a cooling breath. Do as many of those breaths as you wish to cool the body down. And then when you've taken as enough breaths as you wish to do, relax everything. Let go of any tension spots. Just bring yourself back to your natural automatic breath. Consolidating that active practice that you've just done. Being mindful of how you've moved, the creativity and fluidity that you've created through that practice. Working that Svadhisthana chakra, the colour orange, with the eyes closed. Maybe imagine that colour orange in the centre of the forehead. In that mind's eye. Use every out breath to let anything release you're holding on to. And use the in breath to feel the space. wish to stay in relaxation for longer, pause the video now. If you wish to come out with me, start to wriggle those fingers, wriggle the toes, bring some movement into the wrists, into the ankles. Start to take a bend into the elbows, maybe a bend into those knees. Maybe reaching up and out with the fingertips to the back of the mat. Maybe arching into that back, pointing through the toes. Maybe reaching with the right toe tips and the right hand and contracting the left side of the body. And then take it to the other way, reach out with the left toes and the left fingertips and contract through the right side of the body. Do that a couple of times, hitchhiking the hips. Really stretching one side and then the other. And then bringing those hands back up and over. Slowly, one at a time, bringing the knee in towards the chest. Rocking then up and down the spine a couple of times. Up to seated once, back down. Up to seated twice, back down. Up to seated the third time. And then slowly make your way into a seated position. Place the hands on top of the thighs. Take a roll of the shoulders up to the ears. Relax them down to the hips. Next breath in, reach the hands up and over the head, palms together at the top. Then bring the hands to the chest, soft gaze to the floor. Have peace in your thoughts, have peace in your words, have peace in your hearts. From my heart to you, Namaste.